Hello from Kubea's house. I want to capture some progress and some ideas about our chicken run. Um, Still no chicken license, but it turns out my husband hadn't done a set of paperwork, so we're not really waiting for them. I'm waiting for him. Um, Maybe part of the theme of my life in general is that multilingual projects and needing somebody else's language skills sometimes can make things harder or slower. But I do want to celebrate. We've moved forward. I have been wishing for a door on this coop since November. Things kind of fell apart. We got in an argument with the person who was helping us. And this part in particular. So there are a couple things, not to be ungrateful, but I did intend for it to be 110 across so that my wheelbarrow would fit easily in and out. And the person who was helping us standardized it to 90, which he believed to be correct, but he did not understand that I was really trying to go for the maximum width of the hardware cloth, again, to make the wheelbarrow fit. So the door frame was sized at 90 centimeters instead. Didn't get centered in this wall, which made me kind of cranky, although it's not the most important thing for Chicken House. This is not going to be a, sunset and garden featured kind of build. This is us building out of what we have. We did manage to get it all put together with one roll of hardware cloth, which was pretty expensive. I don't know what the conversion rate is, but maybe $100. I do think that having metal and small mesh of this grade is important, not to keep the chickens in, but to keep the rodents out. I don't really know. There are some gaps like this one between the doors. They say if you can get a thumb through it, you can get a rodent through it. And I'm going to have to think about that for a little while. But we still are not at my preferred width, but we are done with making a change. The person helping us understood that I wanted a Dutch door, but he didn't understand that I wanted to be able to step over the bottom half. So he made it half and half, which I call a goat door. And it took us a while to get re-energized to make it a chicken door. So I can step in and not let poultry out. And the top door got kind of joined back together. What I still wish we'd done differently and could happen, although I expect it won't be handled with any urgency, I really wanted this top piece ripped in half so that I'd have an extra piece to go here where the mesh joins through the middle and not leave this gap. But for now, it is what it is. And I wanted to point out that although it is really tempting to trim the mesh down to the size of the door while you're building the door or in the garage or wherever you're building it, I find it useful, and I think it was the right idea, to leave some mesh extending out over the door and to trim it down after it's hung, because these gaps all around would be not rodent proof. This still isn't rodent proof, but I think we're in a little bit better position to have some overage where the latches are. And actually I left a little overage at the bottom too. That one's going to be opened less frequently and mainly when I'm cleaning and I want to rake out from there. So maybe it will get trimmed, maybe it'll mostly just get stepped over, but it feels like a worthwhile deterrent. I'm going to need to do skirting from the inside because we unfortunately have a really big gap. We had a disagreement about this side here, and I wanted it joined to the outside of, those were lizards you maybe saw on the wall just now, not mice, but my thoughts always go to mice first. I'm not from a very lizardy place. So I guess I'll just show it. I was pretty frustrated because we've got this big gap at the bottom. Person helping us was making it square and wanted to use these brackets, and I really thought we were going to rely on the existing timber from raised beds in this area. But so as it is, I've got a big gap to deal with. I probably will end up using what's left of my mesh, although there isn't much, to try to come up with some skirting. These are hollyhocks I'm fond of, and they haven't flowered yet, so I'm hoping to get their seed before I disrupt things for trim. We also ended up a little bit short on the roof because the roof pitch changed. I think we might end up buying one more piece and extending it out. I've asked my husband as we were going to leave those long in case I do end up buying one more piece. They're chickens, not people, so they could just get out of the rain and just deal with it. But part of what's a little weird about here is we're under pines, and there's pine drop coming through all over the place. It's a little bit funny here too. If you look at the carport where there's shade cloth, it catches all the pine needles, which I didn't build it, but I didn't anticipate that. I have saved some, that's olive, an olive branch. I think I'm going to make kind of like a chicken ballet bar style roost, so that instead of locking it into the corners or anywhere in particular, that it has feet and can be taken out if I want to do things, or can be adjusted more easily. I do have one tree that I'm letting grow in here. I think it would need to probably have, like, make a little star of bricks or tiles at its base to keep them from digging it out if or when they come. But we basically are now down to the part of finding the locks for the doors, which have been misplaced since November, and working out this really big gap on the north side. So we got into our disagreement when it happened, mainly about staples. I wanted a no staple build. I don't think they're very safe for chickens. I kind of generally see them as a sign of bad work. And I didn't really make clear that I wanted the washers to like be set at regular intervals and not just kind of put in wherever. And I have to remind myself again, it's for chickens, and maybe be less judgmental about it. The main thing is dealing with the gap to keep predators and rodents out. We don't really see foxes here, but this is a place with fox potential. I might open the second roll that I was saving for a different use and put hardware cloth, really dig out and do all of the bottom. I'm still kind of deciding. There are people around us with poultry, and I don't see them being as intense about it. But that's where we are. And if we finish our paperwork and get word back, then I feel like I'm almost ready, except maybe for that big gap there between the doors, which I need to think about, and the big gap along the bottom to the north. That if I tried to get a chicken or 4 or 5 in here, it probably could be done. It's been kind of a season of neglect, if I'm honest. I had health issues last year, and a lot of the reason why I'm asking other people to do things and then being a little frustrated is that I had abdominal surgery, and bending over hurts. And also, I'm not especially skilled at it, but I am full of opinions. This is my take on what I often do is I see people build things, and while I'm interested, what I like even better is the comments of, you should have done this instead, or the comments of when the person comes back and says, next time I will. So next time I will insist, say, no, actually do cut that down. We need a 4th one across here so that we can tie down these pieces with the washer. I didn't really get a door handle out of the deal, although that'll probably do it from the inside. And I think you should calculate or talk ahead of time about what is the acceptable interval between the washers, if that's the method you use. And definitely make really clear if you think staples are a terrible idea in a poultry yard. Make sure that while you are not there, someone doesn't think they're improving it by adding a million unremovable staples. Anyway, I sound grouchy. Maybe it's because I am. I had dental work today. I have sacrificed my cabbages to the butterflies. I think I'm going to let these carrots bloom for seed because they didn't, they're very, very small. I didn't take good care of them. Hollyhocks still in progress. Nasturtiums everywhere, not getting enough water. little bit of chamomile from tea bags is always fun. A couple of apple trees look like they're going strong. All of my red peppers overwintered, but then are failing. And some fennel, which I recently read or heard kind of, I don't know, grows with its elbows out. It makes it harder for other things to grow near it. So I might decide this isn't the spot for it. It's very easy to find fennel around Catalunya. And while I like it as a Pacific Northwest gardener, or hey, look, I have some fennel, I think maybe it's going to come out of here ultimately. So my my neglected flower boxes that were mostly weed control, blocking the light from the edge of this raised bed, will probably get turned out. And once I've got the seeds on the nasturtiums, they'll either get stacked up or I'll reuse them again. But that is the current progress. And that's all I have to say about that. Goodbye from Kubea's house.